So when I started flipping houses, right, I had no idea, right? I did some research, did a lot of research actually on flipping houses, but you don't really know until you do, right? And that's true with anything in life. Book smart on it, but you don't know real life experience on it. So when I started, my wife and I actually, we started and we got a portfolio loan. And we utilized that to get our first flip. And to do that, we knew a local lender that we used on our first house. We used him for this portfolio loan. And it was, it worked out. It worked out. But the only problem with that was it was a it was a bank-backed loan. So you had to go through all the process. You had to go through the appraisal, you had to go through the underwriting, they check credit, all of that stuff, which is fine. But that's not going to work, right, for all deals because most times you want to be able to offer cash. Like that is what shows the strongest offer and also cash with like a 10-day close or less. If you can waive inspection, okay. If not, 10 to 14-day close is much more ideal and much more beneficial and attractive to the seller than a 30 to 45-day mortgage backed, loan or mortgage backed offer. So our first one we did with the portfolio loan, which we got it, and I did most of the work in it in that house. The next house we did, we actually bought it full cash. But then the third house we did, I ended up researching and finding a hard money lender. So hard money lenders, they're very high interest, right? Very, very high interest. You're gonna look at a hard money lender between 12 to 15% interest on your money. So 12%, and that's yearly, right? So if it's 12%, that's 1% a month. They also have high origination fees, right? 1 to 2 points. 1 to 2 points means 1 to 2% of the loan that you pay up front. They also have a lot of kind of what I call junk fees, right? Just random fees that usually equal out to another point, right? So you're about 2 to 3 points, origination points plus the 12 to 15% interest. But I look at it and I use a hard money lender today, right? I've used it on the last so many homes. And it's a local guy, and he's awesome to work with. He's a great partner of mine. But I look at it as I'd rather make, right? I'd rather make, let's just say, for ease of numbers, I'd rather make 50% of a deal than 0% of a deal, right? So let's say my hard money lender, just for ease of numbers, let's say he makes 10,000, right? I'm good with that as long as I'm making making money, right? I don't want like that, and that goes back to finding the right deal, buying the house at the right price, and then also staying within your renovation budget. But if he makes 10,000, I'm good with that, right? If I can make, X amount of dollars. So I'm he can make his money and I can make mine, right? That's how hard money lenders work. They're gonna make a lot of money off the deal. And some people look at it as, well, they're not doing anything, right? Yeah, you could say that. They're not doing anything from an operations standpoint, but what they are doing is financing the deal. They're a lot of hard money lenders have a fund behind them, so they're managing investors in the background, right? They're writing up all the documentation. They're organizing the money between their flippers, between their commercial investors, etc. So just because they may not be swinging a hammer, they may not be GCing, a general contractor like I am on the job, so I'm more in the operations. But they're still doing a lot of work in the background, and they deserve their share. And a lot of these hard money lenders, they were flippers before that, or in real estate as a whole, right? And they built up that nest egg where they could be an accredited investor and then go to other investors and create funds behind them, and they can, take, different people might have different risk thresholds behind the hard money lender. So depending on who it is, they would lend to a certain flipper or commercial, residential, etc. So hard money lender, extremely important. These guys allow you to scale a little bit, right? You can scale, and it just makes it so it's a lot easier on your pocketbook as well. So you don't have to bring as much money to the table. So if you enjoy this content, follow X Home Builds.